The meeting of the Florence Township Council is called to order. Please stand and join me in the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, Madam Clerk, if you would please read the roll call and the sunshine statement.
This meeting is being held in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice was posted on the township website and published in the Burlington County Times and the Courier Post on January 11th, 2026. Mr. Frattanardo.
Here.
Mr. Gabriel.
Here.
Ms. Lofton.
Here.
Ms. Sullivan.
Here.
Mr. Propolo.
Here.
All are present.
Thank you. This time, we're looking for approval of the minutes of session May 20th, 2026. Also, closed session May 2026. Are any corrections or amendments to the minutes? If there are none, may I have a motion for the approval of the minutes as presented?
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Gabrielle, second by Councilwoman Lofton. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so moved. Township's clerk monthly report for May 26. Motion to approve, please.
Make a motion.
Motion made by Councilperson Lofton, second by
Second.
Councilperson Prattanardo. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye, ayes have it. It takes us to the treasurer bill list. A copy of the bill list has been provided to all council members for review. Is there a motion to approve the bill list as it's been submitted?
Make a motion.
Motion made by Councilman Gabrielle, second by Councilman Prattanardo. Roll call, please.
Mr. Frattanardo.
Yes.
Mr. Gabriel.
Yes.
Ms. Lofton.
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan.
Yes.
Mr. Propolo.
Yes,
Unanimous motion carries.
so moved. This brings us to regular correspondence. We have a letter from the Florence Township Housing Authority dated May 11th, 2026 regarding reappointment of Mary Ann Napolitan. There's also a letter from Florence Township Housing Authority dated May 11th, 2026 regarding reappointment of Ed Jimenez. There's a memorandum from Police Chief Brian Bolazar regarding the ABC license renewals for 2026-27. And there's the Township Clerk's Office activity report from May 26.
Motion to receive and file.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Frattanardo, second by Councilman Gabrielle. This is correspondence A through D. I know we talked about, and this is the way that we're going on the housing authority. Am I correct?
Yes,
Yes?
correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
We still
'Cause-
have an outstanding seat
Yes,
for
yeah,
Kim.
I just want to make
Yep.
sure before, All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so moved. We have an application, it's a 50/50 for Riverfront PTO on July 11th, 2026 from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. 711 Broad Street. Motion to approve this application.
Make-
Councilperson Sullivan, second by Councilperson Lofton. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, ayes have it, so moved. Brings us to the first public comment portion of the meeting. Is there a motion to open public comment?
Motion to open.
Frattanardo,
Second.
second Sullivan. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Public comment is now open. Anyone wishing to speak, please come to the microphone. Anyone wishing to do that, please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name is Blake Diamond. My address is 1051 Florence Columbus Road, and I'm the owner of the liquor bar. Purpose for my appearance here this evening, I do not represent, but I have spoken with the other two off-premise license holders, Town Liquor and Broad Street Flashes. of the consul and his wife and Jay and his father in regards to an amendment to the liquor license as far as Sunday openings. We're requesting to open earlier on Sundays. Everyone would still open if they wish, but the heat is the driver. And the summer traffic, a lot of it, especially on a Sunday morning, people are on the road early heading for the shore. All of us agree, we have people coming to our stores before 12 o'clock. They're there early. We don't have blue balls, and I think this is the only thing that's left as far as what was the old blue balls. So it's a simple request. I would like to be able to open on Sunday mornings earlier than 12 o'clock. I'd like to open at 9. Simple. I realize that you're going to have to do your due diligence, but liquor stores in Burlington and in Bordentown both open earlier on Sundays. And I guess this doesn't have anything to do with the ABC, but if you can buy pot at 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning, you should be able to get a beer, whether you want one or not. I don't want to open early on a Sunday morning in January because it is named money. The money is coming with the heat and it's the driver. But we also have movable holidays. Next year, 4th of July comes on a Sunday. And if you can't open at 12 o'clock, you might as well not open for the day because it's already gone. So that's my speech. That's it. Simple. No need to drag it out. Where it is.
Comments, council?
Would be an ordinance revision, yes, straightforward.
I mean,
And are you asking for only in the summer hours or you want it straight?
I would like it to be throughout the year, and the individual owners can decide what and when they want to open.
it doesn't mandate you have to be open. It just gives you the opportunity to be
Yes.
open.
There's
I
no
mean-
reason in January or February when it's cold, and there are also nights that all of us close early because there is no business. But the one thing about the liquor business is heat is the driver, and holidays is the other, thing. So that's all. Everybody does what they're opens when they want to closes, but the opportunity to open is there if you allow it.
Well, and for council, 2 years ago, we made a change for Bunos to have brunch so that they could be able to serve liquor earlier than what the laws were. Because back then, they also had to abide by noon, a noon ordinance. So that's, another consideration that we did. But I mean, that's a different environment. It's with food and all, but we did make a change to the ordinance then.
Mayor, can I ask what time it is that they open for brunch?
I don't know what the ordinance said. I think they may open at 10. I'd have to look and see what the actual ordinance was written for, but it did get changed. It looks like,
Don't see anything. I don't see any recent amendments regarding brunch.
Nancy, do you remember that, or was that a special, it wasn't a one-time?
it wasn't a one time.
Okay, so it
No,
was definitely an
it
ordinance.
was ongoing.
Yeah, maybe it's not been codified yet. So what's in the regulations now is that a consumption license on Sundays is, I'm sorry. So it's Sundays from noon to 2 a.m. However, license may begin the sale of alcoholic beverages at 9 a.m. if sold in conjunction with prepared food for consumption on premises.
So it was 9.
So it's not, moves it to 9 a.m. And then for the distribution license, it's Sundays from noon until 10 p.m.
Tom, may I ask you a question? I know there's been a couple of cannabis retail licenses that have, come before us. In their applications, do they disclose the hours of operation that they anticipate being open?
They actually, that's a recent conversation we've had with two of them, is that while they are obviously going to abide by our ordinance as it stands, one of the things that they mentioned is in order to be competitive, they were going to ask the town at some point to come back and revisit that. And I'm drawing a blank. I'd have to look at it real quick. Whether we said it was 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, and they were asking for something as early as 8. And what they're saying is they understand that the business to be when there's a shift change, maybe you're coming off the midnight shift or something's going on, people will go and they'll get something and then they're home. and they don't usually go back out. So it's not long before we get that similar request to address our cannabis hours of operation.
And they also had brought up the fact that, many people that use cannabis medicinally, they compared it to the pharmacy.
Yeah.
Pharmacy being open at 8 in the morning. So that was, one of their requests to make it earlier.
Are those, they're only going to be recreational, not medical, the applications that we have?
They're recreational only.
Right, the ones
Yes.
that we've received.
And none of them at this point are on premise. It's takeaway only. So if council's interested to accommodate something like this out of our business community, the request, and they know better, their lost revenue potential, obviously, on Sundays, then it's a simple ordinance. We can have that ready for you this month.
I don't have a problem with it.
Would we be establishing a time right now? Like, are you considering 9 AM or is that something we're still
It's
discussing?
whatever the governing body decides. If Mr. Diamond requested 9 based on, I guess what you're saying in the adjoining municipalities. And if it were 9, then council can say 9. And that's what we put in the ordinance.
Well, maybe they don't have to.
Right. Yeah, because we did a lot of research in the other towns. I wish I had, the paperwork, but we did a lot of research of the other towns when we were looking at the opening for Buno
Okay.
on Sunday.
Do we
Because
have
I-
to specify a time? Can it just say open on Sunday?
Yeah, you wouldn't want to do that because then they open at 12:01 in the morning.
Yeah,
So you're,
Are there any liquor establishments that we're aware of that open at 8 AM around in this area?
8 AM, I did not see one when I was doing the research.
If I can interject, I looked, and in Burlington, lots of liquors, it's 9 o'clock on Sunday morning, but yet right next door, Discount Liquor World is closed. And if you go to Bordentown, Boyd's is closed, but yet the Liquor Mart at Acme opens at 10 AM. I know the Liquor Loft opens, I think, at 10 o'clock. And the rest of it was the dispensary licenses, which all open at 8 o'clock. And I really don't like putting the two of them together, but kind of ends up that way, however you look at it. But 9 o'clock, I think is acceptable. But again, you're the governing body, but we're losing, they're driving past us. And even as far as the two stores, both Jay has seen an increase and so has Hansel as far as Sunday mornings. That people would like to see. And again, once you go on your way, you're just going to buy it someplace
Right,
else.
another town.
And if you're going to the shore, you're going to pay more.
Mhm.
So it's economic but again, it's just a simple request, not a big deal.
Well, if they're looking for an 8 AM for cannabis, and they could still open at noon if they wanted to, they'd be allowed to open at 8 if they chose. Would it make sense to just make it across the board between, 8 AM, that if you want to open at 8 AM, you can, if you want to open at 9 or be closed or whatever, but is 8 AM too early? Like I guess the question is, what's the downside? Who does it hurt?
Everybody's on shift work of some kind anymore, and we're no longer how we grew up. And Sunday was, if
Rest.
you remember, we closed on Wednesday afternoons and we closed early on Saturdays, and we
Right.
did go to church on Sunday. But the world has changed, and people work all sorts of hours. And now that you're working from home, in some cases, we don't have to go to the office. But then I decide I want to drink or whatever. That's kind of like where it is.
Well, and it's not really that people are buying it to drink right then.
No,
It's to take with them on their
it's
way to the
everything else
shore.
you sell with it also.
Okay, after listening to everybody speak, we could talk about this all night. I don't like to make decisions on the spot. I'm not against it. I'm not against it. But I think we should bring it up at our next meeting in conjunction with our cannabis. So we stay in line with what we're doing. That's normally how we do things. at our business meetings, and then we move forward on ordinance. Is that fair enough?
No problem. That's fair enough.
Okay.
Very good.
That's my
Thank you.
recommendation. Council can vote. That's just my recommendation, hearing everything. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
All righty. Anybody else? Seeing no one else?
I make,
Motion to close.
Motion made by Councilman Prattenardo to close,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Lofton. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so moved. Resolutions, we're going to take, if you would, we have a number of resolutions, 2026 dash 115 through 2026 124. They're all approval for consumption. If you see, so my recommendation is we take them all in one with one vote, and then we move on to the rest of it. Is there a motion for resolutions 2026-115 through 2026-124?
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Councilman Prattenardo, second to that.
second,
Second, Councilwoman Lofton. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Fortunato,
Yes.
Mr. Gabriel,
Yes.
Ms. Lofton,
yes.
Ms. Sullivan,
Yes.
Mr. Capoli.
Yes.
Unanimous motion carries.
Thank you. Now we have 2026-125, which is to authorize an escrow agreement for the Florence Food Center LLC. 2026-126, authorized escrow agreement Victor Roberts Group LLC. In 2026-127, amending resolutions 2025-207 and 2026-88, which authorize municipal support for LFB LLC to receive a Class 5 cannabis retail license for the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission, boy, that's a mouthful, to operate within the Township of Florence. Hearing that, is there a motion to approve those resolutions?
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Councilman Prattenardo,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Sullivan. Any questions on the resolutions? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Fortunato,
Yes.
Mr. Gabriel.
Yes.
Ms. Lofton,
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan,
Yes.
Mr. Capoli.
Yes.
Unanimous motion carries.
So moved. We also have some ordinances, and these are, all the ordinances are important, but we've been advised that, you know, our police department that provides security for all of us here in the community and the surrounding area, their firearms have become antiquated. So, and I know we have funds that are available. Also, as you know, these vehicles, they run forever and they do break down like everything else. So Tom, do you want to add something to that so that for on the record, so why,
Yeah.
explain why we're moving to make these acquisitions at this point?
I can, and I'll obviously invite the captain and the chief to jump in at any point, but just to summarize, what we know to be the case is that firearms, I believe our firearms are from 2014 at this point. While some people might think, gosh, you know, how often do they have to fire a firearm? They fire their firearms often for training purposes, and there's a constant maintenance that has to be maintained for these things. So in order to provide for the best level of protection for the officers, in order to do their job, you have to keep your not only your fleet modern, but your firearms and your complement of police equipment modernized. With modernization comes new sighting and that sort of thing, and modernizing the firearms in the department is definitely going to be something that's going to provide for greater level of proficiency for the officers with the new sighting mechanisms, ease of operation, safety, and it's going to be consistent. We're also looking at a caliber change. When you look at a caliber change, which won't get into details, you're going from a caliber that is a one cost measure to another. And so it's readily available when you look at a different caliber. So.
And how is it that we, Chief, how is it that we arrive at what particular firearms to purchase for our.
Look around to what other departments are doing around the state and get the information, the ammo that's available currently and what we're ordering. The 9mm is more readily available, like Tom said.
Good. Tom, I'm sorry.
So, I mean, that pretty much summarizes it for that. So I just want to say that, yeah, the officers, I've attended some of their training, their firing training. And you look at the dedication, the commitment and just how incredibly serious it is. Giving them the proper tools they need in order to do their job, to protect us is paramount importance. And you're taking the step in the right direction to continue this for the department for another, 12 to 15 years and making sure they have a modern firearms in their hands. So let me touch on the vehicles. I mentioned to you before, we always make sure that there's an upgrading of the fleet. You're talking about a vehicle that might only have 145, 150,000 miles on it, but it probably has 500,000 hours of runtime. Whereas, can you imagine that for your own vehicle? That's probably the equivalent of doing, 350, 400,000 miles on an engine, a transmission. Remember, these are police pursuit rated vehicles. This is not something that you play games with. When they start to break down, they nickel and dime you. That's one thing. But when they break down and puts an officer or a pedestrian or another motorist safety at stake, that's a whole nother story. So we were looking to modernize the fleet, replacing some older vehicles, their Tahoes going into the Fords. Lo and behold, one of them blew up. So now we need to put an engine in one of them. The other one, the maintenance records are showing that this vehicle is not long for its life. And so they're both coming offline.
And you also explained to us that we're sort of going away from a particular vehicle into for performance into another.
And
Yeah, the Explorers are a lot more economical. I mean, they're building them just as big as the Tahoes now. So there's just as much space in the back of those as there are in the Tahoes. The Tahoes serve their purpose for a little bit of time, but now we're just moving to the Explorers. And I will say the one time that we didn't order the vehicle, this is like going back some years, then we ended up having to order more vehicles the following year. So that every replacement, 2 vehicles a year, that's what we do, and it's been successful. So
And
far.
based on our budget reports and you meeting with us and we're looking forward as we move forward with our budget. That's one of the things that we asked our various departments to do, to give us an overview of things that were going to be needed moving down the line, so we don't get hit all of a sudden. And I think it's a good way to operate. So if you can gradually put something in rather than getting hit with multiple vehicles and so on and so forth.
It seems like we always have at least one
Yeah,
vehicle. out
which
of
is
service.
good.
I know there's all the vehicles on the other side, but typically there's at
Chief,
least one. out of service.
what would be your reply to someone, a resident on the street would say, why do we need that many? I hear this all the time, by the way. Why do we need so many patrol cars?
Well, what I would say to that is the cars they're on shift 24 hours, 7 days a week. So the officers switch between their vehicles. So while there's, all those cars out there, there's admin cars, there's detective cars, there's patrol cars. We now have SROs that go in there. So there's vehicles that are assigned to the officers. So it's not, and the fact that you typically have 1 or 2 out of service at a time.
Well, I must say from my time here, our police and our fire and everybody associated with our protective services have been very conservative for the most part, I would say, based on my experience so far, not just asking for something, but when there is a need, we have that kind of relationship. So from the chair, I think it's something that we definitely support as we move forward. So there's 2 different ordinances here. We'll take the first one. Anybody else want to say anything? I'm sorry.
This is coming
No.
out of our capital budget.
And this,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's
I-
another
yeah,
point.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
not
this is,
coming out of
We're not,
taxpayers'
we're not looking to raise anything else. I mean.
no,
it's-
we're not incurring
Yeah,
debt.
yeah.
We're not incurring debt. We're not going
Yeah,
to pay
no
interest. It's not
bonding, no
long-term.
nothing, which I think is important, So let's take ordinance 2026. This is the ordinance for the acquisition of the firearm sites, required accessories, blah, 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 blah. This is the first reading of this ordinance. It appropriates $40,000 to fund. Chair is looking for a motion to approve on first reading.
I make a motion.
Motion made by Councilwoman Lawton. Second by Councilman Frattanardo. Anything on the question? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Frattanardo,
Yes.
Mr. Gabriel,
Yes.
Ms. Lofton,
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan,
Yes.
Mr. Capoli.
Yes.
Unanimous motion carried.
Okay, just to say that, too, that on, the second reading for its adoption will come on 6/17/26. Now we have a motion to approve ordinance 2612. This provides for the acquisition of 2 police pursuit rated SUVs with uplift and required emergency service equipment, appropriating $170,000 to fund. Introduction on first reading is this evening. Chair is looking for a motion to approve.
I make a motion.
Motion made by Councilwoman Lofton.
Second.
Who was that?
Frattanardo.
Second by Councilman Frattanardo. On the question, anyone? Hearing nothing, roll call, please.
Mr. Frattanardo,
Yes.
Mr. Gabriel,
Yes.
Ms. Lofton,
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan. Yes. Mr. Capoli.
Yes.
Unanimous motion carried.
Thank you. That takes us down to reported committees, boards, and officers.
I just wanted to say that for the environmental committee, we had canceled our June meeting due to lack of business for the month.
Anything else on the reports of committees? Mayor?
Not for committees, no.
No.
Not,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I
no,
thought you asked me if I had anything for committees.
No, 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 no,
I
no,
have
no, I'm
plenty to
sorry.
say under mayor.
I'm moving under administration. No, nobody else is reporting.
Gotcha. Well, first thing, before I get started, just to remind everyone that there was a notice that was put out. It was on the community page regarding the Delaware River Bridge project. They are having a virtual public meeting on Tuesday, the 9th at 6 p.m. The login, and well, there is a QR code that is posted that in order to register to get the information to be able to log in. So, and that's similar if you've come to any of the meetings that they had here to give updates as to what the project looks like to replace the Pennsylvania Turnpike Bridge. Okay. So we had a lot of chaos this weekend on the Facebook page. And so I'm going to just kind of go through the timeline with regards to the data center, the Falls Township Data Center Town Hall that was being planned. First off, and I'm just going to go through the timeline. I wrote it down so I wouldn't miss anything or forget anything. The Friday of Memorial Day weekend, I was on Facebook and I saw a post that said about the Pennsylvania DEP public comment for their air quality permit for this project. Tom and I immediately sent off letters each, and I contacted the mayor of Bordentown City as well as Fieldsboro. The mayor of Bordentown City then reached out to our Assemblyman Balbir Singh. I posted that notice to the community page so that residents also had that opportunity. I also posted it on the Bordentown page. I wasn't on the Fieldsboro page at the time. I've since joined it. On Sunday morning, I received a text from Assemblyman Balbir Singh at about 8 in the morning asking us if we had any kind of a pavilion along the riverfront in order to have a town hall meeting for the 3 towns, Fieldsboro, Bordentown City, as well as us. I called Tom and asked Tom, first of all, he made sure there was electricity there. I didn't know whether we had electricity in that pavilion at Roebling Park. So I called Tom and Marty. Marty confirmed it. Marty confirmed that there was no activity going there that day. So with it only being the two small towns, I mean, Bordentown City is literally 1 square mile with 4,068 residents. And Fieldsboro is 3/4 of a square mile with 526 residents. We agreed because they all had access to the Riverline train, and the two mayors were going to push that everybody come in on the Riverline train because of the situation with parking in, excuse me, in Roebling. We also felt that with that, I mean, obviously the entire towns weren't going to show up. We figured we would be able to handle security and parking and traffic with the officers that we had on duty. This was a Sunday. So we agreed. I called Assemblyman Singh back and I said that, we can manage this group. On Memorial Day, the holiday, I texted our liaison to the governor, his name is Kimani Scott, to tell him what was going on across the river because that we were not notified about this data center that was being built on the Fairless Hills site of the old U.S. Steel mill. Excuse me. I didn't get a hold of him because it was a holiday. I just texted him. I then saw Assemblyman Singh update his flyer to include Burlington City. They have 9,743 residents. They also have access to the Riverline train. So it wasn't as concerning because they could easily get here as well. And I also received, include Burlington City and Senator Singleton to come. I then received a text from the mayor of Burlington Township saying he had planned to attend our event, but was just going to be in the background. He just wanted to be there to participate. Assemblyman Singh then updated his flyer to include Burlington Township. That's 23,983 residents and an environmental activist. I contacted Assemblyman Singh. This was on Monday. I contacted him and asked him pretty much why, because especially Burlington Township, wasn't going to really be affected by this facility across the river. And he said, well, you never know how many people are going to show up, maybe no one, and pretty much let's reconvene on Wednesday and see what it looks like as far as us holding it here. Tuesday, I followed up with Kimani and told him what we found out about this data center in Falls Township. And he said the governor was having an announcement on Wednesday regarding the guardrails that they're looking to put in place for data centers in the state of New Jersey. I asked if he could invite us, and we were included on the invitation list so we could get through security. So myself and the mayor from Bordentown City, Mayor Lagos, attended that press conference. While we were there, I texted Kimani and I asked him, will we have an opportunity to speak with the mayor? With the governor. And he said, probably not. She had another meeting afterwards. So, well, me being me, when it was over, I rushed the podium and I had an opportunity to speak directly with the governor. And I told her about Falls Township and what was going on, and she wasn't aware of it, which isn't unlikely because they're not obligated to tell us anything on the other side of the river. We're in a completely different state. I don't know whether the previous administration had any information. There's no way to really know, but none of us were really alerted to this this event or this center. Next page. So on Wednesday, the mayor, well, this is what I just said, the mayor the mayor of Bordentown City and I attended. Being in PA, they have no obligation. She said she would reach out and contact Governor Shapiro. The assemblyman then updated his flyer again to include Bordentown Township, another 11,791 residents. And then I started to see the post go into Mansfield, I was going to call it a rally, but the town hall being shared into Mansfield, as well as into Chesterfield and then over into Pennsylvania. Thursday into Pennsylvania. Wednesday night, I didn't hear back from Assemblyman Singh with regards to the size this has gotten. And then we had an incident at the carnival. And I'll let the chief talk about that when it gets to the portion, the chief's portion of the agenda. So we had an incident at the carnival. Thursday morning, the chief called a meeting, and myself, the command staff, our administrator, Tom Sayhole, Marty, as well as Council President Frapoli, we met in the morning with concern about safety and a possible repeat, considering what happened at the carnival, as well as circulating videos of what happened at the carnival. We were concerned about a repeat the next night. The carnival was canceled. We all just determined that it probably was not a good idea to move forward, and the carnival was canceled. In that meeting, we also discussed Assemblyman Singh's town hall, which started out as 3 small towns being affected by the Falls Township data center to pretty much an anti-data center town hall or rally. It had grown so much larger. On a Sunday, requiring Florence Township to bring in many more police at overtime pay at a cost on the taxpayers of Florence. Not to mention the burden it would put on the village of Roebling because of the amount of traffic it would create. And now that it was expanded to such a larger group of people, there'd be a lot more people driving as opposed to coming in on the Riverline train, which is what we had initially anticipated. So we made the decision that it really needed to be moved. So I contacted Assemblyman Singh, and he began looking for another location. I posted that the town hall wasn't happening in Roebling, and a new location was being sought. So Assemblyman Singh couldn't find another town to take it on, so it was canceled. The response to my post, to the response to us asking that the meeting be removed or be moved. Someone said, move it to the high school. Well, we have absolutely no jurisdiction in the high school, none. I mean, the only thing we really do for the high school as a township is we collect the taxes and give them to the high school. It wouldn't take away the issue that we had with having to bring on more police officers at the cost to Florence Township. So that really wasn't an option, and we weren't planning this meeting. This would have been up to Assemblyman Singh to look for another location. And so that wasn't really an option. Then then it said, I saw somebody say, well, don't believe the mayor. Her family business is probably making money off of this. Well, just so you know that my husband and I closed our solar energy company last year. And I'm retired and he's now semi-retired. And we never had licenses to do business in Pennsylvania. So that really wasn't true. That's the only other thing I can say. Then I was told by someone that they wish they never voted for me. And that's okay. That's not a problem. That's okay. But then when my husband and I were riding in Roebling Park, someone said, I hope you die. And in all honesty, all because we asked to have a meeting moved out of our town, with concerns for Roebling Village. So I live here. And if I didn't care, first off, I wouldn't have posted the request for comment that the PADEP was putting out there. I would never have posted it because I didn't care. I wouldn't have gone to the governor's press conference and rushed the podium because I care about our town. I couldn't let the cost of the Assemblyman's rally fall on the backs of the taxpayers of Florence Township because I care about our town and I care about the money that we have to put together and the taxes. I mean, that's always a big thing when we have to increase taxes, and I couldn't put that on the community. So now let's talk about where we are. I'm working closely with Bordentown City's mayor, who has already Oprah. She had her attorney already Oprah everything related to this project from Falls Township, Bucks County, as well as the state of Pennsylvania. They have already extended her request because you have to meet that request within 5 days. They've already extended it for 30 days. So we won't have that information right away. Everything that comes in, we're sharing. She's already agreed to us sharing all the data that we get. Senator Singleton has been in touch with the PA State Representative Jim Prokopiak to get a public meeting set up in Falls Township to include the major players of this project. Amazon, PECO, their water authority, everyone that is pertinent and has the answers that we need in order to know what's going on with this project. It looks like it's going to be held in July, but we don't have an exact date yet because it really depends upon all of those entities being able to be available. The project. This past weekend, I spent a whole lot of time going through 3 years of agendas and minutes of from Falls Township, of their planning board, their zoning board, and they're set up a little bit differently. They have a board of supervisors instead of a council like we do. I found that on March 25th of 2025, this project changed from an Amazon warehouse to an Amazon data center, all in one meeting. There was no, I saw nothing additional related to that. And it was voted on, 2 members voted for it, 2 abstained, and it was passed. According to a post from a resident who started a petition, the residents were not made aware of this change. The residents of Falls Township were not made aware of this change. So here's where we are. The building is already built. According to an article I read, it was fast-tracked by the governor of Pennsylvania. They have already been testing the backup generators. So the generators are on. So we're not stopping it. Unfortunately, we didn't know about it. We're not stopping it. But we will push for transparency and measures to be put in place to protect our community because we all live here. I live right on the river. No, I shouldn't say that. I'm not right on the river. I'm on the other side of the road on the river. And we all have concerns. And Roebling is 2 miles away from this site. Fieldsboro is a half a mile away from this site. And Bordentown City is 1.75 miles away from the site. So we all have concerns and we're all working together to make sure we have the information and protect our community. Florence Township. In Florence Township, we already have a non-permitted use for data centers in our zoning laws. It's already in place. A warehouse can't just change into a data center, because that was another thing I kept saying. Oh, all these warehouses are going to turn into data centers. They can't. Writing a new anti-data center ordinance, like you've seen Burlington Township wrote one, is redundant because we already have it in place. However, though, I spoke to our land use attorney who said that we can add more language to our current ordinance to make it more specific so that there's no loopholes. So we're looking into what we need to add to that ordinance. And that's kind of where we are right now. We're gathering information. I'm sorry that we weren't able to have the initial meeting that we wanted to have with just the 3 towns. It turned into something much larger than our police force could handle without it costing our taxpayers a lot of money. Other towns weren't sending their police forces. I mean, Tom and I even talked about that. If Bordentown Township was having a large gathering and they called us to send our police there at our expense, we would say no. Why would our taxpayers pay for our police to go to another town? And so that's kind of what happened. And I'm sorry that it didn't come about because I know there were a whole lot of people that really wanted to have their voice heard. And I'm really, really kind of disappointed that right now I'm sitting at 4 people sitting in our council room. Well, there were more online. They're not, some of them have disappeared. And I'm just kind of disappointed that we did everything that we could to try to make this happen. And the community took it down a rabbit hole that pretty much, well, you can blame it on me, blamed it on me. It was a decision that was made by a team of people that are responsible for this town. And we just want to make sure everybody stays safe. The other thing that I thought about after the fact is that we were talking about putting 6 mayors, a senator, and an assemblyman in a pavilion in the middle, in the park with access to the Heritage Trail. That all it would take is somebody with some point to make to ride in on the Heritage Trail, create chaos, and then be gone. And all of us looking at each other like, well, what just happened? Or then it would be, well, after what happened at the carnival, why did they ever have this thing? So I'm sorry we didn't have it. I was actually looking forward to it until it got to be so large that it wasn't manageable for our town. And with that,
Thank you, Mayor. Well spoken. I know it was, when Mayor spoke to me, she said it would be a little bit lengthy, but I thought it was important that she clear the air because as the mayor and the chief officer of the community, even though all of us share in decision-making, relying on our police and our protection, decisions are challenging to be made from time to time. You can, like I said, you can blame everybody, but we're going to make decisions in the best interest of the people of Florence Township. And we're going to rely very heavily on our police, our fire, our special EMS people, and so on and so forth, because they know best. They know where they can get help, when they can't. I think it's unfortunate that both of those incidents sort of came into one another. And we were made aware that this rally or this meeting was growing day by day, larger and larger, and it was going to be a much bigger thing to deal with. I know that Councilwoman Lofton has been very not outspoken, but very expressive about things that she has in mind based on what the mayor was saying for guardrails to be put in place. And I'd like to turn it over to you and you can state for the record, Talia.
Okay, so I have requested for baseline testing for air, water, and sound. Working with whoever we can work with. If we can get partnerships from Rutgers, from the NJDEP, whoever, so that we can get some baseline. So when this thing comes on, we have some numbers to compare it to. I know that Tom had mentioned that he had already reached out to certain people and we're waiting to hear back from Rutgers to see if we can get some type of partnership with their students, if this can become a project for them, or whatever we can do just to get some real numbers so that if the data center is approved and it's running and the generators are on and there's humming and they don't have a recycled system, we have some numbers that we can say, hey, listen, because of this, this is what has changed. And we can present the numbers and maybe have a case to stand. Do something proactive instead of just always being reactionary.
And when we met the other day, we hold with mayor and township administrator, vice president, and myself. We sometimes, if one of the people can't make it, one of the other council people come. We can't meet legally more than 2 of our council representatives, but we go over the things that are pending and what things that might be coming up. And when we talked about this, and, you know, there's a lot of talk about what's going on, but there's a lot of information that is still not clear. And this is relatively new from a standpoint of what's coming down the pipe. Until I didn't even know what they were talking about when I first saw it. When I saw that we're having a rally, I go, what the heck's going on? You know, nobody knew. So we talked, and I'm glad that we have some guardrails in place as far as what they can do, because we have open area and we have people that own this area, and I'm sure they would very much like to develop those areas. And we discussed a little bit about a moratorium, you know, not so much, and I didn't even know we had something in place, but more or less on the lines, well, let's see what the heck they're doing. I mean, we don't even know what's going on. This is relatively new. So just to add to it, we're talking about two different issues here. We're sort of like talking a little bit about the carnival, which we will talk about, and a little bit about, you know, but now that we're on the data center, if let's counsel, do you like?
So I was gonna ask if, you know, if council could have a township solicitor look into any kind of like 2-year ban on any kind of data center building here. I was unaware that we had ordinances for it, so if we could at least start there with that, maybe getting something back from us for us in the next meeting. But I'd like to see some kind of ban so that we can regulate it.
I think that's what you alluded to,
It's
Mayor,
already in place.
about
I mean-
she's talking with people. It's very much what you're saying, and what I suggested the other day. I don't care how you name it or how you do it or what you do it, but with direction of our solicitor, I think that, you know, we have to take a position, as many communities have, even though we have things in place. But I think it's important that we take that position to show, you know, the general public is only going to get bits and pieces. They're looking to us for leadership as to what we, as a township government, a mayor, a council, administrator, what we're doing to try and curtail or to get more information or to put guardrails up. They don't care what you pass or what you say. They just want to know we're doing something. And I'm not just saying we're doing something to do something, but that's the general scuttlebutt out there. If we do nothing.
So can we get maybe the ordinances and all the information in our next packet?
What's in place in zoning?
What's in place already so that we can add to it?
It's a good idea.
Like that's, you know, I have a list, you know, I have some stuff written down, but
You want to put that in the form of a motion so that.
yeah, I mean, if you guys want to make a motion on it,
Yeah.
I mean, can we do
yeah.
that
Well,
now or?
One thing to, and if you
Go ahead,
remember
I'm
when Solicitor Frank was here speaking with us last week, he talked about zoning, and if it's not specifically what is stated in the zone, everything else is excluded. So if it's general manufacturing, only those things that are general manufacturing are allowed to be there. Everything else is excluded. So that's where we have our guardrail. But that's where he's stating that we can tighten that language up more by adding to it and making it far more specific
How would we do that, Mayor?
through
So what I can do,
solicitor.
yes, myself and others in my office have been researching this issue as it's been a hot button issue. If I could ask to, not at the next meeting, but the meeting following, to give us 2 weeks
Yeah.
to compile the information, what protections are already within the township code, and then I can consult with Mr. Frank to see what his recommendations are, to see if they're anything different
Good.
than what we've already researched for other towns.
Yeah.
So,
It sounds good.
Any other? Gina, John?
I think it's all good.
Yeah, just to sum up then, basically, based on what the mayor was saying and the things we have in place, and now our solicitor's going to take a look at it. I think once we get that information in front of us, then we know the next step to take. So I'm glad to see that we're in line with understanding that, moving forward, as Councilwoman Lofton has said, I sort of remember back, I could be wrong, but I've been living in the same place for a long while, and I'm only 2 blocks from the river, 1 block. And that dump won't be a problem.
Until the barometric pressure drops and all the methane comes out.
So I'm
out
not
of
saying,
vents.
I'm not saying
I
it's the
know.
same thing,
I
but,
know.
everybody tells you nothing's a problem.
Try growing up on the river with a dock.
Yeah, well,
Before it was built, why it was
you
built,
were on the,
and
yeah,
after
you
it's
were
built,
right there.
And still today.
Yeah, you were right there. That's right. I forgot about that. You grew up right there. So, if anybody, and for the record, we are moving ahead to get as much information as we can to beef up what we have in place. Our solicitors are going to take a look at it. And then
And we're
we'll move.
working very closely with other towns
And we're
as
working,
well
yes,
as the
yeah, what the
assemblyman
mayor
and-
says,
and
right.
Senator Singleton.
Yes, right, with Singleton and all of our people in the assembly and Senator Singleton and so on and so forth. Is there anything else about the that data center? Okay. Now we're moving down, and this is where we'll
Do you want to, skip
That's all
and
right.
just go directly? We can
Yeah,
skip
I'm gonna do
the
that.
other ones, and that
Yeah.
way we can move right.
Yeah,
into
that's what I
happened.
want to do. There's nothing
we
else
come back
really
to
there.
it.
We'll
I'm good.
come last, yeah.
I'm good.
But I don't know if you call it unfinished business or whatever, but Melissa Miscellaneous, but Chief, you're on.
All right, thank you. Just to go prior to the carnival, the Thursday prior to, I was at a county chiefs of police meeting where they brought up the melee that happened in Maple Shade with all the juveniles and all. Then they were talking about the Cinnamons and Carnival that was coming up next. Nobody mentioned ours because they weren't aware of it. And when I said we had one, and they were like, "Oh, I'm sorry, we didn't even realize you had a carnival." I'm like, "Good, we're planning on keeping it that way." So just to let you know, we had 3 of our officers out there, 4 sheriff's officer. One was a drone operator. And how the incident went down, the drone operator spotted a large group fighting. So the officers responded out to that area. It was actually 2 physical altercations that were going on. They broke it up. How it ended was with one 16-year-old female getting charged with disorderly conduct and resisting arrest, a 14-year-old getting charged with improper behavior, disorderly conduct, a 15-year-old female charged with a disorderly conduct, a 14-year-old female is charged with disorderly conduct, obstruction, and failure to disperse. This girl was yelling in the officer's face, like screaming at the officer. The officer tells her to calm down, back up, and she does that for a while, but then she starts going off again, so she ended up getting locked up for that. We had a 17-year-old female locked up for disorderly conduct, or actually 2 17-year-olds, 15-year-old, an 18-year-old, and a 20-year-old locked up for disorderly conduct. All the juvenile were reviewed with the county juvenile prosecutor prior to them being charged because for a situation like this, we wanted to get ahead of it. All the juveniles were released to their parents. A lot of the parents were actually complaining to the officer, about how the officers were. And the adults were released on a summons. I had one officer that got hurt while she was making the arrest. She's still out. She's going to PT for an injured thumb. So, I mean, we did everything that we could. We were set up for Cinnamons, and actually all the other carnivals are fundraisers in the county. Like the Maple Shade was a fundraiser for their football program. And then Cinnaminson has 20 officers working their event, 20 officers, but they can afford it because it's a fundraiser. It's not a sponsored event by the township. So I had to make the decision that we get, we come together and make the decision about whether we're moving forward with this. Because of safety for the township, because we saw that these were all local kids, but then they're putting all this stuff online. So then our fear was we were going to end up like Maple Shade was, where they had literally hundreds of kids at their carnival running across, knocking over kids. They just didn't care. So that was my concern.
Chief, there were, again, your officers, and I know you were involved too, investigated, but there were reports of incidents on the streets in Roebling too.
Well, that was what happened after they dispersed from the carnival. Then they were all over the village. So that's why we ended up having, I think it was like 16 jurisdictions come in to help us out to disperse all the kids because they were causing havoc all over the village.
So it wasn't just
No,
the kids that
yeah.
you arrested?
No,
There
no,
were-
it was.
That's
Well,
my understanding was like 50 to 100 kids ran into the village,
yes.
into the streets of the village.
Yes, yes.
And it's interesting because that is what's happened in communities, shore areas.
Mhm. Well, yeah, that was we didn't want to end up like Long Branch, they were
Yeah.
a mess up there, like.
I
That's
just
what
saw in the news tonight, it happened in Clearwater down in Florida.
Yeah. I saw that,
Hundreds
yeah.
of young people just were running over the beaches, destroying things and
And I will say, there's an issue with juveniles all over the state. It's to the point where we have a juvenile liaison, Sergeant Schaefer, and he has the SROs the county SROs are meeting with the county commissioners to go over the issues that are occurring at the schools. We just today had a fight at the school, the middle school. That's where we get all of our issues.
when somebody on the street asked you, like, why aren't we doing anything with these juveniles? That's, you get that. Or why, or how about this one? Why aren't we doing something with their guardians or parents who, you get that too. Go ahead, Gina.
So actually, it's a good opening for what I'm about to say. So I know I forwarded it to Tom. I don't know if you had shared it, but Gloucester Township, they've actually had similar issues to us. They had an ordinance to ban Orbeez in their town. Remember we have an issue with that? They have they've added minors onto their, I guess, list where like unruly minors, if they're, arrested or whatever, parents can be fined up to $2,000 and get up to 90 days in jail. And I mean, the incidences that have been happening recently, I think accountability needs to happen.
Without a doubt. All these kids, what Sergeant Schaefer just told me, the county prosecutor, because that's where we put all this up to there, that most of these disorderly conducts are going to go as station house adjustments. So, and they used to be able to just do one station house adjustment and that was all you got. But now they're allowing station house adjustments, multiple station house adjustments. So there's no ramification for
There's
the
no
kids.
consequence.
Now they're starting to learn that. So they know that they can mouth off to the police and there's not a whole lot that we can do.
As a chief of police, as you look at this and in talking with your colleagues throughout the county, throughout the state, and I know you guys talk nationwide, what seems to be the feeling as to what kinds of things need to be done to try and
The laws need to be updated or changed back to how they were. We didn't have that issue. Well, I mean, we had the issue, but not as bad as it is now.
Social media.
Repercussions.
Yeah,
There were repercussions to your actions in the day.
So
they used to be scared scared of the police. Not that you should be
Heck, I
scared
was
of the
scared of
police.
my
Yeah.
dad.
No,
Are you
yeah,
kidding?
But,
yeah.
well, and that's the thing, Mayor, like you would go home, now they're blaming the police as opposed to
all
taking
over
responsibility for the kids,
The same thing happens in the schools. I mean, the schools actually, I was one of those people trying to deal with young people with consequences. And I remember it got to a point where my boss, the superintendent, because I was director of student services and I answered directly to him, he said, if somebody comes in to sue you and says they're going to sue you, just say, I'm sorry, the meeting's over. You contact our lawyer, because right away they threaten you with physical violence or suing, and I'm sure they threaten the officers all the time. You know, that's an ongoing thing.
It's discouraging
Would you want
for
to
the
add
officers.
anything to that?
No, unfortunately, it's just unfortunate it canceled the event. Like, we all had a discussion about this event and it was the best interest of the town, everyone involved for it to be.
Now, I would want to go on record because people have asked, like, did we look at other possibilities? And it was such a short notice. We talked about other things, but we also talked about reconvening and putting things in place perhaps that other communities are using and doing. Because I was sort of taken aback when I sat right there at the meeting that we had the day after the carnival on Wednesday night and heard there were a number of young people that were wearing black masks and, you know, outfitted, you know, like almost like a planned, you know, like a vigilante or something, you know, because that tells me that, you know, there's some premeditation there in what's going on. So we did talk about, and I will say this, people, the first thing they said, well, you know, there's another thing goes by the wayside just by a few, you know, people who decide to be disorderly. Well, you know, we don't have plans to never have it again, but we have learned some things from it, and hopefully as we move forward, and we will glean that information from some other communities and what they're doing and things that need to be put in place as safeguards going in before we even have it, and excluding certain people that aren't accompanied if they're minors and stuff like that, because their intentions are to gather and generally to cause problems. Am I correct?
Yes, yes. You just have to be
Clay, you
careful.
want to?
So I guess my feeling is, like, we can keep having these discussions, but if we don't get to the core of the issue, then we're just going to keep having discussions. And so, like, is there like some type of, I know we were going to have a town hall for a data center, but can there be a town hall where we get the administrators from the school, the command staff, and then the council together so that we can be a united front and then talk about, I mean, there's always talk on Facebook, but when it's time to really talk about issues and how to rectify them, can we maybe go out to the public and maybe
Try
have
to be
something at
proactive,
the
yeah.
community center or something where we can try and see, because we all have our hands tied, right? Like, you can only do so much, the school can only do so much, we can only do so much. We need the community's buy-in because they're all of our kids, whether we want to admit that or not. Like, these kids are all of our responsibility. So we have to, I don't know, find a solution as to, like, I'm not saying, like, when I was growing up, if I acted out and somebody saw me act out, not only did I get it from them, but they were gonna call my grandma, my auntie, my mother, my dad.
You'd be in trouble before you got home.
I would be in trouble so many different times. It didn't matter. Like, there was no, I would never want to do it again. I would be in trouble for a month off of something that someone saw me do. So, like, I'm not saying that it has to go to that degree, but
I bet too, if you did something that caused the carnival to get closed down, the other
Never-
kids in school would like be all over you for messing up their time.
And how do you respond to someone who says,
I don't know.
you let a few people close the carnival down?
Well, it's in the best interest of public safety.
sounds-
That's how you respond.
Yeah.
But people who are not sitting in those positions, it's easy to make that comment because you don't know the ramifications that are involved.
I don't know, I
mean,
just
that-
feel like we have to be more together. Like, it's very individualized, and I just and I'm not to say that, you know, the talk is that these parents don't care, but I don't think that's true either, because to raise a family, you have to have two jobs. Like, these parents are working their butts off just to provide basic needs. So, like, they need help, and if hurt people, and these kids are acting out, they're something that needs to be, like, they need support as well. So, like, what can we do as a community to support the kids?
Let's brainstorm that put on our next agenda and let's just talk a little bit about it.
I think it's bigger than us. I think it's
Oh,
like
it is. It is.
statewide, you know,
It
like
is.
I appreciate what you want to do, but I think that what needs to happen is the legislation has to change these laws, or we can meet all
Your
we
hands are
want.
tied.
Nothing's going to end up happening, you know?
Yeah, your hands are
Is there
tied.
anything, I mean,
Can we
surely
petition
these
them to
people
change?
should, the people who are in the legislature must see what's going on. You mean to tell me there's not one legislator up there who is,
If we could pass an ordinance in this town, and then, of course, try and get our legislators here in, legislative district 7 to focus on this issue, having a town hall, I feel like it's a whole approach of multiple things, enforcement, creating an ordinance so we can enforce the best that we can at a town level, and then, trying to see what the issues are, all getting together and talking
so would
about
you
it.
recommend that we add this to our agenda next week and let's brainstorm it and talk about it? As to what are some of the viable, now I have another question and I want to direct it to the administrator because I did receive one phone call and I was approached by a couple of other people. And the first thing they said was, of course, they were concerned about the people who bought tickets and would they get their money returned? And I was understanding that they would. The other thing was, who's paying these people for the carnival for this problem?
We don't pay the carnival company. There's a.
Say that again, because I want to make that clear, because
Yeah.
people think, once again,
Yeah.
people think a lot of things, but here's what they think.
Yeah, we don't pay the
I'm a
carnival.
taxpayer. These few
Yeah.
people caused disturbance. We closed the carnival down because of them. Now taxpayers are going to have to pay this group
Yeah.
because we hired them.
No, we don't pay the
You want to
carnival.
get people
company.
angry? That makes them angry.
So we don't pay them.
Okay.
We actually net a certain small percentage of the proceeds to help offset some of our expenses, but we don't pay the company.
Okay, fair enough. And you said that, but I wanted to put that
For the record.
out there for the record, because if anybody's listening in and also by word of mouth, so people understand, because we discussed that morning, because that was one of the concerns. Not that security was our biggest concern, but we were concerned about that. How are we going to pay for this? And who's going to pay for it? Because, really, if you had something in place, what you're talking about, Councilwoman, I guess there's a point you could assess people for those damage. I don't know, I don't know. How's that work, solicitor? When it comes to like something, if people violate the law in some way and cause disturbances for something not to happen and
So not talking directly about this, but just in generalities. That is something that a judge in issuing a fine can take into consideration. Whatever cost or what the damages that were done would be indicative of the severity of the crime and warranting. Most municipal offenses are like $100 to $2,000 fine. A judge would take that in consideration and probably issue closer to $2,000 fine instead of a $100 fine. If there's specific damages caused by a crime, the municipality or the victim can seek restitution. Oftentimes, this is like I've seen it in where during an arrest, a police officer gets in a car accident. Because of the offender, the insurance company for the township could then seek restitution and subrogation against them to recoup some of the workers' comp and damages to the vehicle.
because of the nature of what occurred.
Is nature of what occurred.
Well, and and one thing too, it didn't cost us anything, but we had a lot of vendors that had purchased food and things in order to be able to, to make money at this event. And luckily, Marty really stepped up and rearranged everything and Subculture volunteered to have
Yep.
the bacon bread done there and they were able to
Churches
bring,
sold things.
they were
yeah.
able to bring the food trucks here
Yeah.
during the baseball games and even though, we don't have kids we went to buy food at the baseball game because to try to support
Yeah.
the vendors that support us in the carnival. So I'm sure they didn't make as much, but they still were able, some of them, I mean, they sold out. So I would assume that they were able to at least sell what they were expecting to sell.
Now, along those lines, and I was going to bring it up under new business, we talked about the issue of creating surveillance. And did you want to talk about that tonight a little
I was
bit?
going to
or-
do it at the June 10th meeting, the trailer.
Yes.
I was going to do it in June 10th.
Okay, but we have talked about that and a mobile one that we can move around. Now, you're saying you use the drone so you could see what's going on, am I
Yes.
correct? Yeah.
Do we have a
And,
drone?
No, I mean, we went through the sheriff's department.
yeah, and so I think that's gonna help a little bit, because with this, 3 more weeks, all these youngsters are gonna be on the streets. And they're gonna be roaming all day long and to the evening, so.
Well, and
uh,
you've said before, we already have issues with the park out here with
Yeah.
the teenagers.
Yeah,
And then apparently there was an incident in Roebling Park yesterday. So to have just that presence of a camera is enough to deter people. So,
About that incident in the Roebling Park yesterday, I did see all the comments on Facebook about that. The officers went out there and nobody there wanted to pursue any charges. And the
well, that's what
officers
you're
ended up-
dealing with
Yeah.
too, yeah.
Yeah.
Not an easy.
Kids are kids.
You
Kids are
wanna
going to
say
be
Are we
kids.
under Business? What are we under?
We're under,
we skipped around a little bit.
yeah, we
Yeah.
jumped, so we
We're
wouldn't
under
hold these
business.
gentlemen up.
So we're.
Thank you
we're-
very, anybody else for?
I- Well, no, not for them.
We're
Thank
kind
you.
of at administrator.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Be safe out there. Thank you.
Just for 1 second.
We jumped over the administrator. We're putting him last. He said he didn't
I'm
have too
good.
much to say, so.
I decided to stay. So
Go ahead. Go.
I just want to touch base. There were some things in your packet. I want to make sure I draw special attention to them. I met Doris tonight. Doris gave you a request in here regarding consideration for a streetlight. We met. We're going to be talking about her concern, her residents in that neighborhood concern. And I just want to let you know, rest assured, I have her contact
Good,
information. I'll be
good.
looking.
You're very welcome.
We work together with our public service representatives. I asked the police officers most of the time to also weigh in. So rest assured that's going to be handled. There's also a notice in your packet regarding Burlington County doing some paving on Old Brook Road, 660. And it only specifies route numbers, so I want to make sure you know what those route numbers are. 670 is Jacksonville Road by Burlington Township High School. And 543 is by Fountain of Life, the blinking light by Fountain of Life. So that's the extent of Old Brook Road being paved by Burlington County this year. Actually, I think right now they're starting the work. There was a memorandum from the chief directly to you with regard to a resident request asking the police department to do something. And basically, I'm going to say that the person was critical of the department's decision not to provide a service, which I think is questionable at best as to whether or not they should provide it. And he actually spells out in there that he would rather the governing body make a decision one way or another. And I'm going to suggest that this governing body, nor I, has any jurisdiction over the way in which the police department operates its CGIS and its computer operations, and the decisions they may make is best interest of operating their investigations and whatnot. So I know the chief was pretty specific, and at this point, unless the council felt strongly or wanted to discuss this in more detail, I think the person would be getting a letter indicating that the governing body will remain where it resides in the legislative side of the government, and the police will continue. The operations side. But I wanted to make sure I said
Yeah,
it, and I wanted to make sure I
absolutely.
at least had your consent that would be
Absolutely.
basically the direction of the letter. And unless you have anything for me, that's all I have.
Okay. Nothing under Division of Law, nothing under Division of Engineering, Division of Water and Sewer, unfinished business.
I'd like to just add something. We, during this meeting, we've done a lot of Facebook community page debunking. And I just want to kind of make a statement really for the public. We have 4 people in the room right now. There's so many posts on Facebook. And what I find is 99% of it is misinformation. And it's 99% of the time, the person sharing the information isn't at council meetings. This is a lot of people for a council meeting tonight, even online. Misinformation is sharing misinformation. If you want the information about actually what's actually going on, please come to the council meeting. That's all I have to say.
And to add to that, sending nasty messages through Messenger to council members and mayors, administrators isn't appropriate, and I honestly don't open them. So that Messenger is for family and friends, and I don't open them. If you want to get information to me or any of the council members, we have email, you can call the office, someone will call you back. But I don't read them, so you're wasting your time writing them. Thanks.
You good?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else under?
Are we
unfinished?
unfinished? Okay, I
Yeah.
have a question.
Yeah.
So in all of the drama of the weekend, I guess, my question is, when will Roebling Park get additional parking so that we can actually utilize the waterfront? Is there a plan to make that space accessible? So because it's a beautiful area, like it would be nice to have food truck events
Are you
or
talking about
like
what was
Roebling Park.
supposed to go down?
No,
Oh,
I'm just talking about Roebling Park. Like, how can we get that area to where
okay.
it can be like used for maybe like a summer concert series where we can have events there? Because right now parking is always the issue. Everything is parking in Roebling Village.
You can certainly discuss that at a meeting. With the 40-acre expansion, it actually says that there could be a lot more potential down there versus the original traditional Roebling Riverside Avenue Park. Council has never wanted to take away from the historic value of that park and start paving it over and adding parking in spaces where it was always naturally just like it is. They were hard pressed in years past to just even put in some of the nose-in parking because they knew they were going into the grass areas and they were taking away from what Roebling himself laid out for the enjoyment of the community. Once we get the benefit of the Roebling Steel Mill site with no fences and a wide open expanse, it's probably going to be a great opportunity for us to take a look at First Avenue's extension and doing something down by, and I'm going to use the phrase because I love it, down by Stonehenge and that area where it's levels off. And you can probably do something nice down there for parking, even if it's only temporary. And then you could eventually look to expand it temporary by stone and some of a base like that. But it will be a great opportunity under a park grant program, once we get the steel mill, to look at doing something like that. Just a thought.
We don't know what the time frame of that would be, do we?
They're supposed to, the contract is supposed to be let this year for the final grubbing and cover of the steel mill. So EPA's, glacial pace, I'd say you're probably looking at 1.5 to 2 years of work.
We've met with them, it'll be 2 years in August when they said
Yeah.
about moving the rope stretchers
stretcher,
into a new
yeah.
building and then going and doing the
Yeah,
resurfacing.
yeah,
They have the money, they said,
yeah.
to do it.
So there is one, which we can talk, if we're gonna, talk later about parking and stuff, there is one area that I identified on Riverside that isn't a parking spot, but could potentially be two, so maybe that's something, I don't know if we're gonna have a conversation about the parking, I can bring it up then.
Yeah, we could talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
and-
have an
yes.
executive.
Yeah, we have a meeting. Yeah.
I mean, if you want to talk
Work
about it next
session.
week, but what I suggest is if you want to do something like that, why don't we give the engineer time to take a quick look and see what's
That's a good
available?
idea. Yeah.
Because some of the other restrictions we have is we don't put cars parked at the end of alleys where the trash trucks have to turn out. We can't put parking where there's a fire hydrant. We can't put it where there's a utility pole. So we start to find physical restrictions that limit what we can do unless we were to drive a driveway in and create big parking areas. So we just have to, balance that. And so as
Okay.
not to damage the historic value of the park either.
Okay.
Thank you.
So not necessarily for next week, but I will
Yeah.
talk to the engineer about taking a
Okay.
quick peek.
I think all these things are good things that, because you guys make an excellent point. I mean, we got this beautiful park there and,
Yeah.
you know, we could, I know last year, Councilwoman Lofton talked about, you know, having some community events with, food trucks and things like that and trying to,
Bring the community
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, moving
That
forward
everything is
together.
individualized.
Yeah.
It's your son, it's your problem.
Yeah.
Let's make it together.
That brings us to, anything else under unfinished business? I just want to, just go on record once again. I make the same plea every couple of weeks. Please, people, we put out, especially with all the recreation and summertime coming, we have zillions of receptacles all over the place. Please be a good citizen. Put the trash in the trash cans and the recyclables in the recyclable cans. I walked in because I parked over there. I don't want to get into why I parked over there, but as I'm walking in, I'm looking at all this trash that's sitting there and I'm going, come on. And it's the same all over the place. It's, you know, you walk along the streets, the path. If just take a moment and get rid of that. Have a little pride in what you're doing. Have a little self-discipline, you know? But that's my plea. New business, anything?
Yes, that was
Right.
where I was gonna bring up about the stuff for the data centers. So I just want to note that that's when I was gonna bring it up.
So you're okay with what we're doing now? Okay. Board of Health, miscellaneous. We're into our second public comment portion of the meeting. Motion to open, Councilman Frattanardo, second. Second by Councilman Gabrielle. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
At this time, anyone wishing to speak, please come forward to the microphone, state your name and address. And you can address mayor and council.
Laura Stoneberger, 127 Fourth Avenue, Redwood. And I'm so glad I came tonight. I'm ashamed I haven't been here before. Glad you brought up data centers because that was going to be my next letter because I've been looking for ordinances online. I discovered them. And I'm not a social media person. I'm not on social media. And we had, as you know, visitors May 20th to 21st around town, going after catalytic converters. And that's what started the whole thing with the request for a new street light on the street. But I also discovered a lot of my neighbors and met them because of that. So it was a good thing in a way. And well, I'll be back for more town council meetings and I'll try to get other people here. I love the park. I walk Roadland every morning. So I think we keep our park. And I know people need parking. I made notes, so there were a couple things I wanted to say. Oh, I know the last thing. Not all of us use social media. So I just learned about the Facebook page online for the police department. I can at least read some of the things that are going on there, but I didn't know about a lot of the other things that are going on in town because I'm just not out there.
No, that's understandable.
Online. The kids, the other thing about the kids all over, even the United States, I hear they're deliberately gathering in large groups and communicating that they're going to go to these places online, and then they go and do stuff deliberately. So it's going to be hard to overcome something like that.
I have a question for you.
We can try it. Yes.
Because you're not on social media, how would you want to be notified about community
Right.
events? What is the best way that I could get information to you?
I do go on the computer and I use email. I
Okay,
have deliberately not engaged in what I call anti-social media. I know there's a lot of really good stuff out there.
okay, so like the internet, so you would go to the township page?
Yes, I'll start to more often.
Okay, I'm just
Yeah.
asking because like we want to engage everyone and we know that everyone isn't on social media. So just trying to figure out how I get to you.
One
I got a
thing,
lot of information about the catalytic converters from people in town. One of my neighbors, John Swanson, walks his dog and told me about hearing Sawzall cutting a catalytic converter that night. And that started me on my walk, and I ran into some other people that hadn't heard about it, but other people had. And the next day, people had heard about it on Facebook. So I don't think it was an official Facebook, but it might have been one of those neighborhood ones. So people share things, word of mouth, but see, I'm deliberately not out there on social media. So
Do you have a smartphone that you can put apps on?
I use a flip phone. Rather than keep it in my pocket and then drop it.
one thing that may help you if you use, especially if you use email, if you go on the website, the township website, I think it's at the bottom of the first page. You can sign up to get updates from the website so that you don't have to go there and look every single day. It will tell you when it's been updated so that if Marty posts an event that's coming, you'll get an email. Anytime that there's new ordinances that we pass, you'll get an email and then it'll show you where to go and you can just click on the link and you can read the things that come through.
Everything that we're doing or it's happening does go out on the community page. It's just a matter of,
Yeah,
navigating.
but if you don't want to get on Facebook.
Don't bother.
Amen, girlfriend. I'll tell you what, if I didn't have to be on Facebook, I'd have a lot less stress.
I'm gonna tell you too, about a year and a half ago, right outside my door, under a street light, a group came in, went under a car, took the catalytic converter in about 8 seconds,
Yeah,
and
they're
they were
fast.
gone. I mean, that's how quickly.
By the time you dial the police, they're gone.
Well, one was stolen on our block, but thanks to several neighbors who heard it, that slept with the window open or were coming and going themselves from their own homes, they chased them off our street.
Well, Chief, do you want to address that? Because, I mean, this isn't just somebody in our town. This is
Yeah,
a whole, I mean, this is
Yeah,
an
it's going
organized
on all
group.
over the
Yeah, it
state.
is.
Yeah. We have our new camera system, luckily caught the tag on it. But the problem with that is they take these tags off of different vehicles.
Stolen tags.
Yes, yes.
I also learned you can get a.
Oh, come up to the top.
catalytic-
Come up so that
I'm
the
sorry.
people online can hear
I
you.
also learned that you can get a shield for your car to protect your catalytic converter.
I've heard that too. Yeah. Thank you.
There's my shield right over there. We'll get done to protect mine.
Can I mention something? Because
Go ahead.
I kind of got excited when what Doris said. Doris, my new friend Doris. She uses a flip phone. She uses email. She doesn't use a smartphone. Chief and I, we were in a video conference recently with a GoGov, which is an app company that will give us the ability. And Gina and I discussed this maybe 2 months ago where we were doing budget still. And so we're looking to develop a township app so that people can get the app. It'll send push notifications if they're on
Good idea.
a smartphone. It could send text messages. It can send email messages. And it all goes out at the same time. So anybody, depending on how you subscribe, you're going to get this message. So that's something that we're working on. I just got the pricing for it. And then the account representative reached out to me again today. And I'm looking to make this happen for the second half of the year because we have to make sure that this thing is honed in. We don't want to roll it out and have it go hairy-nary, as you would say. We want it to be perfect and on the rollout. So
Is this something that's being utilized by others? Is that
yes.
what you're saying?
Matter of fact, Evesham uses it. There's communities in North Jersey that use it. You have
I
some,
have New Hanover and Willingboro on my phone now, and then a GoGov, I think for some I actually downloaded the GovGov in the app, in the Apple store, and it was like some town, I think in Illinois. My God, they won't stop with the push notifications. I had to like turn that one off. But Willingboro is great because it'll be like spring cleanup this Saturday, or it'll be like, expect delays at this intersection, road work happening tomorrow. We could do the hydrant flushing messages.
Yeah, that's a good idea because then it's not the public searching, trying to find information. It's actually coming right to their phone.
And if you click in the app, they actually have a section where it's a notification. So if you've ever clicked on a notification on your phone and then you're like, oh, I gotta get back to it. How do I get back? It's a whole list of all the notifications. So they just like live in there.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So we're looking.
The
to
other
do
thing
that.
is there's no cost for push notifications, right? So like we would get a per text.
Right.
We won't get that if someone
Right.
has the app on the phone.
Push is great. The texts and the calls is also a call. It can get very costly. We're looking to buy a block of messages. It's going to be about $9,000 investment for us. But I think it's going to pay dividends as far as what the community gets.
It would also cut down on a lot of the misinformation
Yeah, yeah.
because we could push that out.
Okay.
Sorry to interject.
No, thank you. That was great information to know. Anything else? Nothing else? Motion to close the public session.
Make a motion.
Motion made by Councilperson Lawton, second by Councilperson Gabrielle. All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. At this time,
Going in the closed
I'm
session.
going to ask for a motion to approve Resolution 26-128 to go into closed session. This resolution authorizes the mayor, township council, and support staff to meet on closed session and authorizing the exclusion of the public from that portion of the meeting dealing with specific issues requiring non-public discussions. The topic is personnel. Can I have a motion to approve Resolution 2026-128?
So moved.
So moved by Councilman Frattanardo, second by Councilman Gabrielle. Roll call, please.
Mr. Frachinardo?
Yes.
Mr. Gabriel?
Yes.
Ms. Lofton?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
Mr. Capola?
Yes. At this time, council will go into closed session. There will be no action taken when we come back into open except to adjourn the meeting for this evening. Thank you all for coming out.
Good night.
Good night. Appreciate it.